Now we're going to add an extra step into the mix, and we need to simplify the radicals before we have like radicals, and then we can simplify the expression itself. So with part A, we're given the square root of 18 plus 6 times the square root of 2. We can't simplify 6 times the square root of 2, but we can simplify the square root of 18. That is equal to the square root of 9 times 2, which equals 3 times the square root of 2 plus 6 times the square root of 2. Now we have like radicals. We can add the coefficients, which gives us 9 times the square root of 2. Part B, we're given 6 times the cube root of 16 minus 2 times the cube root of 250. So now we're going to need to simplify both of the radicals. So 6, the cube root of 16, that equals the cube root of 8 times 2. We want to factor out any perfect cubes, in this case 8, minus 2 times the cube root. What is a perfect cube that is a factor of 250? That would be 125 times 2. And it's a good indicator with these problems that whatever is left over when simplifying one of the radicals, in this case 2, is what's going to be left over when simplifying the other as well. That's not always the case, but it's a good indicator. So this ends up being 6 times the square root of, or times the cube root of 8 times 2. That ends up being the cube root of 8 is 2 times 6 is 12. And we're left with the cube root of 2 minus the cube root of 125 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125. So the cube root of 125 is 5 times the 2 is 10. And again, we're left with the cube root of 2. And then we have like radicals, cube root of 2, cube root of 2. So 12 minus 10 is 2 times the cube root of 2. Everyone's favorite, part C, we're dealing with fractions. Again, the first step is to let's simplify the radicals. So 2/3, the cube root of 81, that equals the cube root of 3 times 27, or 27 times 3, 27 being a perfect cube, minus 1/2 times, well, chances are we're going to end up with 3 left over. So 24 divided by 3 is 8, which is a perfect cube. So this is the cube root of 8 times 3. Now, if we factor out those perfect cubes, take the cube root of those perfect cubes, we end up with 2/3 times the cube root of 27 is 3. And we're left with the cube root of 3 minus 1/2 times the cube root of 8 is 2. So 1/2 times 2. And again, we're left with the cube root of 3. We'll further simplify 2/3 times 3 is simply 2 times the cube root of 3 minus 1/2 times 2 is just 1. So this is just going to be the cube root of 3. And then 2 times the cube root of 3 minus the cube root of 3. We have like radicals. That's just going to be 2 minus 1 equals 1 cube root of 3.